Good morning, students. It is a class for 10th standard. Subject is Social Science first. I am Smita Miss. Today, we can take the first lesson, that is revolutions that influenced the world. In this lesson, we can discuss about different revolutions happened in the world from the 18th century onwards. And first we can study about the American War of Independence. Then there are so many revolutions. There are French Revolution, Russian Revolution, Latin American Revolution, and Chinese Revolution. We can discuss about details about these revolutions later. Now, we can discuss about the American War of Independence. Do you heard about revolutions? What is the meaning of that word, revolution? The word revolution means it is a complete change from the previous situation to a new one. Here, it means that a complete change in the political field. That means earlier there were some changes in the political situation, and that situation completely changed to a new one. That is the meaning here. And so many revolutions happened in the world, but most of these revolutions are stimulated mainly by Renaissance. Do you heard about Renaissance? I think you studied about Renaissance in the previous classes. What do you mean by Renaissance? Renaissance means the revival of earlier culture. That means during the medieval period, there were very little development in the fields of culture, art, literature, sculpture, etc., etc. But during the modern period, in the beginning of the modern period, there happened a complete renewal of this earlier culture during the medieval period. This was known as Renaissance. This Renaissance stimulated all the earlier revolutions in the world. These revolutions are happened in various parts of the world. Renaissance was first started in Italy. But this Italian Renaissance influenced the revolutions happened in other parts of the world. And do you heard about the significant changes in human thoughts due to Renaissance? What were the important features of Renaissance? Okay, here we can discuss about the various features of Renaissance. The most important one was humanism. What is humanism? It is a concept of giving more importance to human aspects. That is humanism. And so many other features are there. They are scientific temper, humanism, scientific thoughts, critical outlooks, etc., etc. And all these type of human thinking gave birth to revolutions. We know that earlier the people had so many people lived in the various parts of the world, had no freedom. They struggled a lot due to their slavery. Do you heard about imperialism? imperialism. During that imperialistic period, most of the British and other European countries colonized some Afro-Asian countries, Latin American countries, North American countries, and Australia. So the people lived in these colonies had no freedom. So they started revolutions, liberation struggles against these imperialist countries like Britain. We know that Britain had more colonies. They had colonies in almost all parts of the world. So they were called the land of the sun never sets. They had colonies in almost all parts of the world. That means in all continents they had colonies. That is why they are called the land never sun sets. And because of the influence of this Renaissance, all these colonies started revolutions against their imperialist land. And now we can discuss about the American War of Independence. American War of Independence. It happened in North America. During the 18th century, the people of America demanded a representation in the British government or British Parliament, because at that time they were colonized by Britain. And the British Parliament passed so many laws against these American colonies for controlling them. They imposed several taxes and several laws against these American colonies. Because of this, the Britishers, they were not ready to give any concessions to the Americans. So the Americans started, or the colonies started, revolutions against their imperialist country, Britain. What were the demands of the people of America? They needed representation in the government, and this revolution is anti-people. If no representation, no taxation without representation. And look at that last point, no taxation without representation. No taxation without representation was the main demand implemented by the colonies. And this slogan was framed by James Otis. He was an American and he framed this slogan for the Americans. What was the main slogan of the American War of Independence? No taxation without representation. And later, this slogan influenced the people of other parts of the world. What do you mean by this slogan, no taxation without representation? This means that the people of America needed representation in the British Parliament, because the British Parliament implemented several laws, or they passed several laws against the colonies. But the Americans didn't want any kind of law without the representation in the British Parliament. That is the meaning. So it was considered as the most important slogan of the American War of Independence: no taxation without representation. What were the demands of the people? Representation in government. That means they needed representation in the British Parliament. Then it is anti-people if no representation. If they had no representation in the British Parliament, definitely the laws passed by the Parliament will be anti-people. That is why James Otis framed this kind of a slogan: no taxation without representation. And here gives a map. In this map, you can see the names of the 13 colonies in North America. From the 16th century onwards, the Europeans began to migrate to North America, and their main aim was to exploit the resources. The British had 13 colonies were there in North America, and I will read the names of these 13 colonies. Just look at the board. New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, New York, Pennsylvania, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. These were the 13 colonies established by the British in North America. And here gives a brief description about the migration of the British to America. Okay, I will read the paragraph now. Christopher Columbus. Do you heard about Christopher Columbus? He was the first navigator who sailed to North America in 1492. Christopher Columbus, a sailor of the Spanish government, reached North America in 1492. He called the indigenous people as Indians. Do you heard about this incident? Because Christopher Columbus believed that the land he reached was India, so he named the indigenous people of that land as Indians. But it was North America, not India. He thought that the place he reached was India. Later, they were known as the Red Indians. They were really not Indians, so later they were known as Red Indians. The earlier colonies in America were established by a group of people who exiled to America from the religious persecution of the King of England in the 17th century. During that period, during 17th century, religious persecution happened in England, and because of these religious problems, some people of England migrated to North America. And they migrated on a ship called Mayflower. They were known as the Pilgrim Fathers. They were migrated to North India because of the religious persecution or religious problems. They had to face religious harassment from the British Parliament and the British King. Because of that reason, they were known as Pilgrim Fathers. With the increase in European migration, the Red Indians were displaced to the interiors. The Europeans seized their land and flock of sheep. And at last, the Europeans became the masters of the land, and they colonized the real inhabitants of America. They were Red Indians. Okay, it was just a description about the migration of the British, the people of Britain, from Britain to North America. And here gives the route These routes were symbolized that the Europeans traveled from Europe to other parts of the world. First one is from Europe to North America, then from Europe to South America, from Europe to India. Then we already discussed that the British Parliament passed several laws. For what purpose? They passed several laws for collecting raw materials for their industry and as a market for selling their products. The British Parliament passed several laws for the colonies for various purposes. Mainly there are two purposes. The first one is collecting raw materials for their industry. They needed more and more raw materials for their industry because so many factories were set up in England. There were not enough raw materials for these industries in England. So they wanted to collect these raw materials from various parts of the world. And at the same time, they wanted to sell their finished products. That means they wanted more and more markets in various parts of the world. These were the two main reasons for the implementation of various laws. This policy implemented by the British merchants with the help of their motherland in the American colonies is known as mercantilism. What is mercantilism? The policy implemented by the British merchants with the help of their motherland. It is called a mercantilist laws. Now, which were the important mercantilist laws? Here in this lesson, we can study 5 mercantilist laws. So many mercantilist laws were there, but in this lesson we can study only 5. The first one is the goods to and from the colonies must be carried only in British ships or ships built in the British colonies. That means the colonies had to export and import products only in the British ships or ships built in the British colonies. They couldn't export their products in their own ships. That is the meaning. Or they couldn't export their products in any other ship. That means in any other ship of any other country. But definitely they must be carried only in British ships or ships built in the colonies. This was the first law. Second mercantilist law was the products of the colonies like sugar, wool, cotton, tobacco, etc. could only be exported to England. The main exported items from North America were sugar, wool, cotton, tobacco, etc. The colonies had to export these items, these exported items only to England. They couldn't export these items to any other country. They could export these items only to England. That was the second mercantilist law. Then the third one was the British stamp must be affixed on all the legal documents, newspapers, pamphlets, license, etc. That means they could affix a stamp of the stamp issued by the British or British Parliament on all the legal documents or on all newspapers, pamphlets, license, etc. That is the next way of exploitation by the British. Because of the selling of these stamps, they could collect more money. That means the British could collect more money. The fourth mercantilist law was colonies must provide food and quarters for the British troops which were maintained in the colonies. What do you mean by food and quarters? That means food and accommodation. Food and accommodation for the British troops. That means the colonists had to maintain a British army in their own country, and the colonists had to spend the amount for food and quarters for these British troops. Then the last or the fifth mercantilist law was import tax must be paid for the import of tea, glass, paper, etc. These were, that means tea, glass, paper, etc. were the major imported items to North America. Earlier we discussed about the major exported items from North America. There were sugar, wool, cotton, tobacco, etc. And in the same way, there were some imported items. They were tea, glass, paper, etc. The colonies had to pay an import duty on these imported items. Now we discussed about the mercantilist laws, and all these 5 mercantilist laws were implemented by the British Parliament for exploiting the resources of the colonies, for exploiting their wealth, mainly wealth. Now we can just discuss about an incident happened in North America. The incident was known as Boston Tea Party. Do you heard about Tea Party? Yes, we know that. But it is an entirely different Tea Party that happened in North America. This was happened in 1773, December 16th. On that day, there on the port of Boston, it was a harbor, on the port of Boston, a ship was boarded. And during that period, the British government imposed a high tax on the tea. We already discussed that tea was an important imported item, and the British Parliament imposed a heavy tax on it. And because of this heavy tax, the people strongly protested. The people of America strongly protested against the British. And on 16th December 1773, a group of people disguised as the Red Indians boarded the ships at night in the Boston harbor. A ship full of teachers boarded at Boston harbor, and the people of North America, they disguised as Red Indians, entered into the ship. And they threw 342 chests of tea into the sea. They thrown all the 342 chests of tea into the sea. This is why this protest was known as the Boston Tea Party. And now we can discuss about the thinkers, some thinkers who influenced the American War of Independence. The ideologies of some thinkers stimulated the people of the colonies to fight against the exploitative laws of the British. Now, let us discuss about some thinkers and their ideologies. In this chapter, we can study about only 2 thinkers and their ideologies. First person was John Locke. John Locke, he was a thinker, and he said that his ideology was everyone has some fundamental rights. No government has the right to suspend them. We know that we all have some fundamental rights. They are birth rights. Definitely, no government has the right to suspend these fundamental rights. This was the ideology given by John Locke. Everyone has some fundamental rights. No government has the right to suspend them. And the second person was, or second thinker was, Thomas Paine. Thomas Paine, he was a greatest thinker during the period, and his ideologies influenced the people, and his ideology stimulated the people of the colonies to fight against the British. And his ideology was, there is something absurd in supposing a continent be perpetually governed by a foreign power. Here, the continent was North America and the foreign power was England. We know that England colonized North America, and here it means that no government has the right to perpetually govern another continent. Then today we can wind up the class, and here today we discussed about Renaissance, the most important factor that stimulated the earlier revolutions, their features. Then we come to the American War of Independence, its slogan. Then migration of the Europeans to North America, and the various laws passed by the British Parliament for exploiting the resources of these colonies, and the names of the 13 colonies. And last, we discussed about the names of two thinkers and their ideologies. The ideologies of these two thinkers stimulated the people of the colonies. So now we can wind up the class. We can discuss about the assembling of the entire continent in the next class. Okay, thank you.